You're listening to Those Dram Yinzers with your hosts, John and Zach.
Hey everyone, I'm John.
And I'm Lee.
And welcome to Those Dram Yinzers, where we drink whiskey and talk about it. For everything Those Dram Yinzer, please be sure to visit thosedramyinzers.com. You can find our social media links, our Patreon page, order form for our hats, and the link to Zach's favorite website, which you all know is dramit.threadless.com, where you can find all types of merch that we offer. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, want us to do an ad for your product, or would like us to try a product on the show, send us a DM or an email. Let's take a minute to talk about Frost Buddy. It's a great way to support the show while also getting something for yourself in return. It's the best all-in-one koozie you can ever have. Their Universal Buddy fits 4 different types of bottles and cans and can even turn into a full-on drink container with their additional lid. Use the link in our bio to check it out for yourselves. And if you buy something through our link, Frost Buddy will send us part of the sale. Again, great way to support the show and get something for yourself in return. So my guest host filling in for Zach today is a really good friend of mine who Zach and I both went to college with.
We go way back.
And he's been on the show before. For those that have listened since the beginning, it's been a bit. But we had a show on his bachelor party trip in Kentucky where we talked a lot about rum.
Talked a lot about rum. And also talked a lot about good bourbon.
Mm-hmm. And so Lee Scott is who I'm talking about. He's here with me today for a couple reasons. A, Zach wasn't able to make it tonight. Again, life is just busy, as you could probably confirm as well. So he had him fill in, but also for another reason. And he's here to announce that it's funny, he's announcing what we're doing for the show, but that we're actually going to have our first official sponsor, not Lee himself, but the farm he owns and runs and does all the awesome things that he does. And it is called Laurel Oak Farms up in Butler/Saxonburg, correct?
Yeah, so Laurel Oak Farm is located between Saxonburg and Butler. Mm-hmm. And we're really excited to be your first premier sponsor.
Mm-hmm. The official beef supplier of Those Dram Yinzers.
We are the official beef and grilling partner of Those Dram Yinzers.
So we're going to be talking a lot about the farm, about the products you're offering, what people can get out of, your farm through our listeners and everything. And then we're also going to be trying some good stuff. So because summer is kicking off soon, I got a couple ready to drink cocktails, ready to drink, canned cocktails or bottled, whatever, for Lee and I to try tonight. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of go through some of these, say, oh, this one, yes, this one, maybe, and where you can find them. They're all locally made. It's all 1, 2, 3, 4, technically, that we'll be trying are all PA made. And so if you're looking for a really good bourbon cocktail, ready to drink cocktail
you don't have to spend a ton of time figuring out how to make
that's not the Jim Jack Crown cans.
Coke fixes a lot of errors, but
it does. And so we're gonna try. What do you want to go with first?
I think we should try this Thistlefinch black coffee flavored whiskey.
Oh, you want to go with the black coffee today?
Yeah,
first?
Let's go with the first thing that would wake us up.
Okay, so you can hand me that real quick. Thank you.
Yeah, and so John is picking out some great ready-to-drink cocktails, and while he picked those out, I filled the freezer with good quality ground beef.
For sure.
So if summer starts, outdoor porch sipping cocktail drinking time, it also starts off the grilling season. So for those of you out there looking for a good, solid Father's Day gift, check out the ground beef form.
Yeah, we're gonna have the form linked in the show notes, in our bio link, everywhere. You should be able to find it. Okay, so Thistle Finch is out of Lancaster, PA. I must say that right so they don't yell at me. And they do a couple different things. I've had their black pepper whiskey, but I picked up a 375 of their small batch black coffee flavored whiskey.
Now, John, you were telling me on the black pepper whiskey that they actually do something to infuse it or suffuse it through the peppercorns. Now, when in the process would you do that? Is this the kind of thing that you're pulling it out of the barrel, you're either blending or doing straight from the barrel, and then you're filtering with it?
So I think that's what they used. This was years ago when they first started. I had, and that's what I was told. I don't know if that's still the process they do.
Okay.
But yeah, so after it comes out of the barrel, it would, that's throwing me off because my headphones are messed up. After it comes out of the barrel, yeah, that's where you would then filter it through, or just let it sit in, the peppercorns or whatever. But
Okay.
So this one is infused. It's their rye infused with whole coffee beans and charred white oak. So they throw the coffee beans right in there.
Oh, they put it into the barrel.
According to the back of this, yes. So this is, I got this at Pennsylvania Libations. Shout out to them. 80 proof. And I don't, wait, let me look up my receipt. Hold on. So I got it's $20 for a 375.
Not bad. So then, it's been a while since I've done a whiskey tasting. Can you remind me what? You should probably also edit out the
Oh, the blah. Yeah. Tomas is really good at his job.
Thanks, Tomas.
So it's very similar to wine tastings, right?
Okay.
You nose it. You can swirl it around to look at the legs, which usually deals with the viscosity or the oiliness to it. I'm not an expert on that, so I just usually go right in for the sniff. And depending on who you're talking to, there's different ways to sniff it. One nose, close the other nostril, mouth open. There's a whole.
Buddy of mine and his wife went on a trip to Scotland, and they learned that there's such a thing as a nose. And, no joke, she was identifying flavors and tasting notes that were, expert level as an amateur. And so...
Some people have a really good nose for this kind. Some people have to work at it, like me. Some people just, boom. It's all in experience, So,
and some people it goes by allergy season.
It does, yeah. I don't know what exactly coffee I'm trying to pick out. I also drink flavored coffee, so it doesn't really help me, but
I smell the coffee beans.
I definitely get
And you can definitely tell that it was whole bean because you're not getting such a heavy note of the coffee. It's very light.
Gotcha.
But I feel like it kind of dances in with the rest of what is happening in the glass. It's a pretty alcohol-forward smell.
Very much so.
It reminds me, in a good way, of some of the younger stuff that came from Wiggle shortly after they opened up. Yeah.
I mean, this is their rye, and I haven't had their rye in a while, but those notes come out, I thoroughly enjoy this nose. I really like the way this smells. I think it's got enough to it that it can just make you keep going back and sniffing and trying to pick other things out.
It's got almost a dry, earthy smell to it. A little bit like straw.
Not bad. I didn't expect a lot for 80 proof.
The coffee is on the tail end of that.
It very much, it comes in at the end. Yeah, and I like that because it allows the whiskey to stand out and then hit you with the coffee.
What it is definitely not like is putting bourbon into your coffee.
Correct. But yeah, I think for $20 for 375 at 80 proof, I think this is about where it probably should be. It's got that youngness factor of it. They don't have the aging on the batches, but but I like the coffee at the end. I really enjoy the nose. Yeah, I would. I think this would be a Haas for me. So our ratings, because you haven't done this in a bit. Buy bar pass.
Buy.
So buy it. Try it at a bar. Pass on it. I don't want this ever. Pittsburgh eased. Haas. Buy a bottle. Bring it to your house. Try it at a bar. Downtown. Throw it out.
I like it. Yeah, I think I would keep a bottle of this around. Mm-hmm. I think as a sipper, it probably would not be a go-to, but I think it could do well in a variety of pretty simple cocktails that you would want to have in the summertime. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking of something that like this and soda might be pretty refreshing. Mm-hmm. I think it would do well in mixed in with Coca-Cola and just do a simple whiskey and cola. But on its own, it's got a lot of interesting flavor. The alcohol nose is pretty strong, but it doesn't carry that through into the palate.
No, I'm not like, I mean, I taste young, but it's not like, oh God,
No. I'd keep a bottle of this in the
would be good
house.
as a shot in your coffee in general,
Work from home. I can't pull that off, but other people might be able to do that.
Me neither. Yeah, but on the weekends. But yeah, and really, I mean, I bought it $3.75 because I wanted to try it first. But I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, looking at the shelves, the full $7.50 was less than $40. So
yeah. And so you're going to find this at PA Libations.
Yep.
And I've seen Thistlefinch in fine wine and good spirits stores.
Yeah, I've seen one or two of them there. I don't remember which ones I've seen, but I have seen them there.
I like it.
And Pennsylvania Libations, didn't realize this because I've been really bad at keeping up with things. Not only do they have the shop in the Strip, they opened up a shop 2 years ago in Shadyside.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wine and spirits. Because they do wine at the other location in the Strip, and then so they do both at this one in Shadyside. But yeah.
Okay.
So options. Pretty good start.
Yeah, I like it. I'm trying to think if I was going to actually make a cocktail with this. I'd probably want to use like this with a little bit of like the Buffalo Trace bourbon cream as well. Just like a little touch of the sweet. Potential of just like this, some soda, and a sprig of rosemary for the savory side of things.
You're way more up on cocktails than I am.
I don't really make them anymore other than like a special occasion.
Yeah.
And so I think about them more than I make them.
But you've had a lot of experience of trying different cocktails, like, and everything throughout the city, and you've had a lot of experience. This is why I think I had no doubt you'd be good picking out some notes, because you have had a lot of experience in food and flavors, more so than I have. And I had no doubt in my mind you were going to be fine pulling out notes for this.
Well, and what's wild is it's Thistlefinch, and I taste neither thistle nor songbird.
Yeah, they did good at hiding it.
It's the coffee.
It is. Okay, so before we pour the next one, let's talk more about the farm.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. And this is perfect that we are focused in on Pennsylvania-produced spirits.
I'd like to say I did that on purpose.
I imagine you did. So Pennsylvania has such a rich history with agriculture. And my family's been a part of that since early 19th century. I'm actually sixth generation agriculturalist, and we've kept the same breed of cattle that we have now pretty continuously on my father's side since 1870.
And that is?
we raise registered shorthorn cattle. So shorthorns are a breed that originated in the Teeswater region of England. Very hardy animal that did well in a variety of environments in Scotland and England. Was originally brought over to the States. They were a 3-purpose breed. So milk and meat are the ones that immediately come to mind. These days, most of your milk comes from Holsteins because they produce such a high volume. But there are a number of other dairy breeds, Shorthorns being one of them. Our cattle are raised primarily bred towards the beef tendency. But that third reason that they were brought over was draft. They were excellent oxen. And so back in the days of westward expansion, 19th century travel and 19th century farming, they would be an essential part of the agricultural landscape. So yeah, we've been at our current farm since 1988. The farm that my wife Shauna and daughter Etta and I own is Laurel Oak Farm. It's based at our home in Butler. That's not the original farm that either of my family parents came from, but I took over after my mom and dad passed and like to continue that legacy of agriculture. It's really shaped and formed how I see the world. I think that being close to the ground and caring well for animals has taught me a ton about responsibility in other areas of my life. My day job is as a minister, and I do human resources work in the context of a mission organization. And I mean, it's not a one-to-one that you care for cattle and you can care for people. They're very different animals. But you know, a lot of the principles that you learn being around animals carries into how we want to, you know, be with other people.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Cows are great too because they don't send you emails.
They don't. No. Per my last email. No.
They
Okay.
They don't CC your boss on the email. Like none of that.
What do you want to go with next?
Let's try this old fashioned. Okay. Because I'm not as big on old fashions as I am for Manhattans.
Okay, so we are trying next 8 Oaks, which is a farm distillery. Out of, why am I blanking?
New Tripoli.
There you go. Thank you. So this is their old-fashioned, ready-to-drink cocktail made with their bourbon whiskey, greenhouse Angostura bitters, and orange zest. 26% alcohol by volume. I have to give a massive shout-out for this little bottle and the other one we have, which is their Manhattan, to the folks over at Pennsylvania Libations. I told them what we were doing for the show, and they threw this one and the Manhattan in for free today. So thank you very much to those. You know, they're always awesome. I'll plug them all the time.
Yep, veteran-owned distillery. New Tripoli's out in Lehigh County, so this is another Easterner. I get some anise on the nose.
Now, I will say we are trying this with ice. I figure we'll do the rest of these over ice. Ooh, that's got a cinnamon note in there.
I taste the cinnamon. The sugar is heavy from the simple syrup.
Yeah.
This is delightful, and I do not like most old fashions.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've ordered them out, like when we've been out. I will order them if there's like a house one, like on the menu.
And it's also a safe one because it's really hard to screw up.
But people do it.
People
do it, you know. I had one, was a 50-50 blend of Lefroy and Maker's Mark 46. That was the whiskey that was in the old fashioned. Very interesting. I don't know if I get it again because I did it. I tried it. It was interesting, but
It's almost a penicillin.
basically, I like this. I thoroughly enjoy. I was not sure.
It's a little on the saccharine side for me. I prefer a more savory cocktail. I'm looking forward to the Manhattan next.
Well, so what we're gonna do next is, because I pulled out the Liberty Pole Old Fashioned, ready to drink. We'll do that. We'll do Old Fashioned.
Great.
But I think I agree with you. It definitely is way more on the sweeter side, but I typically go towards that. So that's why I thoroughly enjoy it. I think this could be a very dangerous drink.
This is going to be really good hanging out grilling.
With all the new, really good
With all your
quality
burger. No, but seriously, this tastes like how finishing all the mowing should feel.
Sorry, I'm trying to look up on their PA Libations website. 1 second. This is 8 Oaks. Let me pull them up. There it is. I really like the Pennsylvania Libations website. You can look it up by spirit or by producer. So I can pull up like 8 Oaks and it'll show me everything they sell that's theirs. $15 for a 200 milliliter. For that.
Not bad at all.
No. You pay $15 for some Old Fashions out in Pittsburgh. And the Manhattan's the same price too.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so you raise for the meat side rather than the dairy side.
Yeah.
So
both my parents grew up on dairies, and both of those dairies kept shorthorns. So the root genetics of our herd, I can trace them back to the 1940s, but they are primarily from that dual purpose influence.
Gotcha.
So the advantage that gives for us is that we've got really great cows that mother well, take care of their calves really well. Calves have plenty to eat and to grow on from the milk. And right now we've got 5 calves that we have had born here this spring. We're waiting on another one. So our operation is really, it's different than how the beef industry has come to be within the industry. And I mean, I'm not at all against commercial agriculture.
Yeah.
I mean, we all like to be able to go to the grocery store and buy food for our families. Yes. So there's definitely a place for that. But what we saw in the 20th century was farms got away from like a full integrated system where you had a cow had a calf, you raised that calf out as either a replacement cow or as a steer for beef, repeat the process. In most of the country, what you have is you have cow-calf operations that raise cows and keep the calves, and then they sell those calves to another set of farms that raises them out from the time they're weaned until about the time they get to be a yearling, okay? Those are backgrounders, okay? They end up selling those calves that are, anywhere between like 600 to 1,200 pounds to finishing feedlots on contract basis.
Gotcha.
Those finishing feedlots finish out the animals, send them to slaughter, and then it gets into the beef system. So that broke down significantly during COVID, and that was why beef was at such a shortage.
Yep.
Because if any one of those elements has a problem,
The whole thing
can unravel pretty quickly. So what we do, though, is we're very small scale. I've got maybe 20 animals right now, and we're on a 37-acre farm. So our goal is really to maximize the good life of agriculture here in Western Pennsylvania, and we do that with our cows. The cows do a great job of taking care of the pastures, eating grass, participating in carbon sequestration, putting carbon from the ground back into the ground. It was a poop joke.
Cool. Okay, so back to the whiskey. We'll keep interjecting with whiskey so we can keep everybody staying.
I like this. It's growing on me.
It's very dangerous. It is on the sweeter side, so if you typically like a little bit of a sweeter old fashioned, I think if you're getting other people into old fashions, I think this would be a very good one to go because it is on the sweeter side. So it usually like.
Well, and I know, like, I'm going to interject on your rating system and offer an alternative because this is the special summer show, right?
See.
So you go Haas, downtown, and down the drain, right?
Throw that.
Pontoon.
All right.
This
Elaborate.
belongs on the pontoon boat with you. So if you're heading down to the point for Independence Day festivities and you're not the boat driver, put on your PFD, crack one of these open. It's perfect for 4th of July because Eight Oaks is a veteran-owned distillery. And this will be perfect out on the water.
Or even in your backyard when you're grilling delicious beef sold by Laurel Farm. Okay, so I'm cracking into Liberty Pole's ready-to-drink old-fashioned cocktail. Now, this one is made with their rye. So
Imagine that, a Liberty Pole product.
Yes, right. In
on
my
those
house.
Dram Yinzers.
Right. So the old-fashioned from Eight Oaks was made with their bourbon. This is made with their rye. So there's another aspect.
Looking forward to a little more spice on this one.
Yep. This is and theirs was 26. So 52 proof. Liberty Poles is 80 proof. So
now the look of the bottle. One of the things I really appreciate about Liberty Pole is the effort that they make in not just the product that goes in the bottle, but the appearance as well. Mm-hmm. There's a lot there. The label's nice, but also like the coloration is a little different than I expected for it.
they don't. Yeah, typically their bottles are clear, but this one does have a little bit of coloring at the top. And all their bottles now, so they have the ones you see in my crate there are their original bottles. There's some other ones back here that was the second gen when they right before they started moving, and now the brand new ones, which I'm trying to think if I have a new one of that. The brand new ones they have, the ones they are selling now, are actually made in Monaco.
Huh.
Yeah.
Which is a big throwback to the first major industrial contribution of Pittsburgh, which was glass.
Mm-hmm. You can hate it if you like. You don't have to be.
I like it.
I figured you would because of the rye.
The rye has a really nice spice that carries through.
It's got those beautiful fall notes.
This is really your tail end of summer prepared cocktail.
For sure. But if we're talking ready to drink availability of local craft distilleries,
It's fantastic.
mm-hmm. And this is year round. Same with the Eight Oaks, that they make it all the time. But I thoroughly enjoy this one.
6 2-ounce servings. Mm-hmm. So, if you are budgeting at home, you've got 6 cocktails for $30 versus 2 cocktails for $30. This is going to be good at a Steelers tailgate for one of those early season games where you want something that's got, a little bit of flavor of the season, but you don't want something too heavy.
Yeah. So what would be a perfect lineup would be a quick pour of the Thistle Finch black coffee to wake you up, and then you just round it out with Liberty Poles ready to drink old fashions
While you're grilling at the tailgate.
All right. So while we're enjoying this one, what do you offer, and how often do you offer it, and what can people buy from Laurel?
Yeah, that's one of the really challenging parts with small business, right? Mm-hmm. We are not a grocery store. So there are things that we know we just can't do well, so we don't want to do it.
Right.
So we aren't going to sell you steaks. because keeping inventory and doing that on a regular basis, we can't.
Right.
What we offer is really, really good grass-fed ground beef. We try to always have that available. One of the things that we strive to do is be the place that everybody knows, okay, I can always go get good ground beef at Laurel Oak Farm. Because who doesn't love a good burger, right? Our claim to fame on our ground beef is it has enough fat that it holds together well on the grill, but you're never going to have to drain the pan when you're making chili. So we always try to have grass-fed ground beef. We also, for those of you that have a culinary appreciation for marrow bones, we try to do that as well.
Oh, okay.
Or if you want to keep soup bones. And we will also do roasts. And that's not a popular thing. Most people are like, just give me the steaks. But I love a roast for what it symbolizes. Nobody's really, like outside of me when I was in seminary, nobody's really making a roast for just themselves. You're always having a gathering around that. One of the greatest honors of raising food is knowing that we're contributing to really great moments and memories by being a part of the table.
I mean, that was a staple dinner at my house growing up. I mean, with my parents and my brothers and everything. You know, my mom needed something that was easy to make, fed a lot of people, and we had. I can picture the pan that she has, and I know she still has it. That she used to make roasts with carrots, potatoes, and onions, and the whole. You know, Dad would marinate it. He'd make slits and shove whole garlic cloves in it, and we just roast that in the oven. Oh my gosh, that was the best. Yeah.
And so we try to keep roasts. So we'll do chuck roasts, rump roasts, arm roasts, English roasts. I love a good roast. So the other thing that we raise is we try and retain or go out and source from farms who are partners with us 2 to 3 to 4 steers a year. We grow those steers out on a ration that really maximizes the animal's health, but also produces a beef product that is going to be vastly superior to what you can get in the grocery store as far as health. Now, beef is red meat. It's never going to be the 100% heart healthy thing.
Right.
But I'm here to tell you, chicken and pork, which is not a white meat despite its good marketing, are not nearly as healthy as they try and project. So we want to raise a really good beef product. If people are going to spend money to purchase beef from us, we want it to be the best burger, the best roast, the best steak that they've had. So we really spent a lot of time researching what diet should they get in order to grow out well. We want to prioritize growth, we want to prioritize health for the animal, and then health for the consumer. A lot of different ways to grow out steers. The way we've chosen is to prioritize a ration that comes from research from Kansas State University. That is, if you give beef cattle a diet rich in omega-3 fatty acid rich foods, then that actually transfers into the muscle and fat within the animal. So you're building a healthier beef product for the consumer. Again, it's red meat. It's never going to be what your cardiologist recommends to you.
Right.
But if you want to be able to enjoy a burger into your 90s, which I want you to be able to do, eat the healthiest you can. So grass-fed's great. All cattle should have a diet rich in grasses and legumes and forbs. Our steers get alfalfa hay, free choice, meaning that bale's just sitting there in a bale ring and they can walk over and eat it whenever they want.
Gotcha. Okay.
They get water in a plentiful amount throughout the day. Always water available for them. And then twice a day, we give them a grain ration that is custom mix from Osterling feed mill up in Butler.
Okay.
And it is oats, corn, linseed meal, alfalfa pellets with a little bit of molasses. That molasses is helpful because it gives them a shot of energy, especially in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But the omega-3 foods that are really going to be helpful there are the alfalfa hay, which is rich in omega-3s, the linseed meal, which is the result of rendering flaxseed for oil, and the oats. So it's a really healthy diet for them. They grow really well on them. And on that ration with the cattle that we're raising, I can turn a steer around in 16 to 17 months.
Oh, wow. So so ground beef, always available.
We try to have ground
keep it always
beef
available.
regularly available.
Okay.
And the best way to order from us is through the Google form.
We have been getting stuff from you for a while now. Typically ground beef. It is, and I'm not saying this because you're my close friend, because we're talking about it. Like, even if you weren't sponsoring the show moving forward, I still boast about it to people that the ground beef has such a great quality to it that it is superior to anything you can buy in the store or main grocery stores. You know what I mean? So I thoroughly love it. We love having it in the freezer. We do all different things from burgers to we love it in a meaty mac.
I love a good meaty mac.
So,
it also really shines in a meatloaf because it has,
haven't done that in a while.
it has a flavor to it.
Yeah, it definitely.
Rather than so there's an important place for grocery store ground beef.
Mm-hmm.
But too often that grocery store ground beef has sat out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's lost a level of flavor, and a pound isn't truly a pound. So a pound with us is actually a pound.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a pound of ground beef. A pound at the grocery store, you will find that there is a ton of water you're cooking out of that beef.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
It's
a side by side,
yeah.
But a pound of ground beef from us, you're always going to have stuff cook off. There's moisture in beef, and there's fat, but you're going to have more products. So you're going to be able to better feed your family with a pound of ground beef from us than from the grocery store.
And I don't have to. I have all kind of different seasonings for everything. I find that when we make whatever we're making with yours versus a grocery store, for some reason I've run out and I haven't been able to order more. I have to load seasoning on the grocery store. I don't have to put as much with yours because yours has a really just good, rich flavor to it by itself.
One of the things that our generation grew up not realizing because of so much commercial production of food was that a lot of food has a natural flavor all its own. Like if you've had pasture raised chicken, like truly well raised, flavorful chicken, it has a chicken flavor to it. Versus buying a boneless chicken breast from the store, which is the eggplant of meat. It only has the flavor that you give to it. And again, there's a place for that. I mean, I have a picky kid. She likes things she likes. She doesn't like things she doesn't like. And so the ability to give something flavor that I know she'll appreciate is important. But man, if you want to have a really great experience, go find a farmer. It doesn't have to be us. And we're not able to supply to the rate that we could supply everybody that listens to your podcast. But we would love the honor of having our beef on your grill and our burgers on your table. We would love to also see you go out and find other farmers in the area. Pennsylvania has such a rich history of agriculture, but also such a firm foundation of it. It's really one of the most important industries to the Commonwealth.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree.
So, I mean, there was a time in our lives that Pennsylvania actually produced more peaches annually than Georgia. So
let's talk about if it's not delivery radius.
So if it's beyond 50 miles outside the farm, I'll give you a more significant charge to account for gas. But honestly, if it's also too far, I'll tell you it's too far and help you find a farmer that's close.
Right, because we have listeners all over. So yeah,
Yeah.
If someone like out Eastern PA, like you're not going on Eastern PA, but there's farmers out there.
Furthest I've delivered is to State College.
Gotcha.
Yep. Which was a really fun Saturday for Etta and I, just driving past Beaver Stadium
Yeah, for sure.
in the fall. Yeah. So
I did. So Hidden Still, who we're gonna have here in a couple drinks here. They're out of Hershey, and they came out with a blue and white bourbon whiskey. So it's catered towards the Penn State fans. They worked with a group out of Penn State.
Very nice.
I was trying to get it for tonight. I couldn't get it. So you'll be back on once I get a bottle of that.
That's awesome.
But
yeah, and one of the fun things about agriculture is the way that it ends up using, even from the distilling and the fermenting industries, waste products that otherwise would just either be landfilled or set aside. Like, it's a problem to figure out what to do with your spent grains and your spent malt. One of the guys that I'm close with up in Butler County actually on a weekly basis runs down to one of the breweries and picks up a load of wet distiller's grains. Mm-hmm. It helps the distillery and brewery, and it helps his bottom line a ton because the nutritional value for wet brewer's grains and wet distiller's grains is significant.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think most of the ones do sell a lot of theirs back to either the farms where they're getting their grains and everything, or another farm. So yeah. So pouring next, getting back into the whiskey here, is 8 Oaks. Going back to 8 Oaks, they're barrel aged Manhattan, ready to drink.
I've been looking forward to this one.
So this was made with their rye whiskey, the greenhouse Angostura bitters, star anise, and vanilla bean.
I'm really interested to try this because there's no listed sweet vermouth in this.
And again, all these cocktails we're having, these ready to drink, we're having them on ice. So that plays a bit into it, but I figured have it cold. Oh, I love that anise note on the nose.
That's unexpected for a Manhattan for me, but one of the things I love about the recipe for a Manhattan, like I love a true regular Manhattan that's got like really strong rye, a sweet vermouth that has a character all its own. Like, it makes a good cocktail, but there's so many riffs you can take on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're wanting to mix one at home, I've had a lot of fun making cocktails at holidays that are Manhattans, but I'm using the Saffron Amaro from Wiggle. Mm-hmm. I'm using a bottle of black walnut bitters that a friend, Mike Sheets, made from black walnuts from our farm.
Nice.
And they're just killer black walnut bitters. Mm-hmm. So I like this.
Yeah.
It is a lighter Manhattan than I am used to because it doesn't have that sweet vermouth heaviness to it.
But the vanilla bean, the anise, plays really well with their rye.
Mm-hmm. It takes the edge off of the rye.
It does. It does. And I haven't had 8 Oaks rye, so I can't really comparatively give really good notes. But this, again, it's a 200 milliliter. It's $15 again. And it's as well 52 proof. Yeah, I like that. I've liked everything we've had so far.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're having a summer dinner party, one of the challenges that you have is you're hosting, you're cooking, you are trying to make sure that people are entertained. These ready-to-serve cocktails, it's very simple. You can just put them out on ice, and your guests can take care of it from there. I think a garnish with, a really nice cocktail cherry, and this would be solid. That would, for me, make up for the lack of the sweet vermouth.
Okay.
But I do really like this. It's got good flavor.
Yeah, I'm not upset by this at all. Okay, so we've talked to ground beef. Let's talk the steer. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So I don't think it was your last round. Was it? Maybe it was your last round. The round before that, we had gotten a rib roast, and I used it as my first attempt at prime rib on the smoker.
Oh, nice.
I ate that entire thing myself. She doesn't like prime rib, so I ate that entire thing myself. And let me tell you, man,
I bet that was miserable for you.
it was so bad. It was horrid. Ugh, I can't believe it. No, that was quality. You know, and again, when you're cooking, the final product is only going to be good as what you started with.
Yeah, you have to start with good first principles. Nobody really wants a Manhattan made from, 10 high.
Bankers Club blended American whiskey.
There was a great article from Deadspin about 10 years ago that was cheap bourbons ranked. Ooh. And it had some fantastic nose and palate readings, like earthy in a bad way.
Well, Zach and I did a $10 and under show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did it. Look, it's back a bit, but go back and look.
Okay.
It was
How long did it take to recover from that episode?
Oh, wow. Those bottles are still sitting on the floor. I refuse to put them on the shelves. It was like a couple really, really bad blended American whiskeys. And Old Crow. Of course,
Old Crow walks away with that one.
Old Crow walked away very easily with that one. And we did that one and a $10 to $15 one. That one wasn't as bad, but the under $10, that was rough. I got a funky look from the owner of the Fine Wine Good Spirits, or the manager of the Fine Wine Good Spirits here in Millville, because I had a special order, some of them.
Oh.
So, you're not really
You're the only person doing SLO for $10 and under besides the Turf Bar.
I walked in and he just had this face, and I was like, I have a podcast. We're doing this price series. We're starting with $10 and under. He's like, I was really curious of your story of why you were buying.
We're opening the diviest bar possible.
Yeah. I'm about to make the crappiest drinks ever. But no, I mean, quality product to start with. So
Walmart ran out of turpentine.
I wasn't. I've never done like a prime rib on the smoker before, so it was my first go at it. So I decided to do that rather than cut it up into steaks.
Yeah,
and it was really good.
The way
and I don't know, and I know it wasn't all my cooking. That was the quality of the product that I got from you. But
yeah, you start with good stuff, and then one of the things that is great about beef versus a lot of other types of meat that you can cook and grill is it's actually way more forgiving than people think it is to cook. As long as you're not the person that's like, I need to have it at a true medium. But if you're okay with being like, okay, it's in a range, then you're going to be fine. Prime rib sounds super intimidating, but it's one of the simplest to cook. All you do is put it in a roasting pan, cover it in some salt and pepper, put it in there, and let all of the guests at Christmas dinner think that you are slaving over that stove.
No, that thing sat on the smoker. I have the Bluetooth temp probe, and
yeah,
it told me
the way to do it. You mentioned earlier about your memory that almost had a flavor to it with the roast. My memory of roasts growing up was a rump roast that was put in the crock pot while my mom left for work.
Yeah.
And then my responsibility when I got home from school was to put the vegetables in. Right? So that has such a flavor to it that fills the whole house, not just with a smell of a good meal, but for me, that's the smell of good memories. So that's part of what the magic of growing food for people is knowing that you're participating in that.
And the quality, of the beef, whether it was the ground beef or the rib roast or whatever, that type of high quality shows that you are really caring about what is going on there full-heartedly. You're not just like, pumping them out because you're just looking to make a profit. You're looking to, as you say, participate in someone's memory, someone's table, whatever. And yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And so what we try and do for our animals, because they're really the lifeblood of like what we're selling, we try to make sure they only have one bad day, or if they're a steer, 2 bad days. And if you don't get that joke, look it up of what a steer is.
Yeah.
We don't offer Rocky Mountain oysters as a product.
I would not. So when I worked at the Kaufman House, that's now the Kaufman Tavern in Zilly, there was always a really good special for the week or a couple weeks or whatever, and ranged from swordfish to shark to whatever, because they had a house down on the beach, and they would go down, whatever they fished under deep sea fishing, came back and was a special. And the one time I was there, they had Rocky Mountain oysters that were the special. And I didn't know up until then what those were.
That was the alternative story for that is that was a trip to the beach that involved more fishing than catching.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, last drink, and I promise I'm going to shove water down you so you're good to drive home, is by Hidden Still. And I've had this before at a work conference, but they have a ready-to-drink cocktail, thank you, that is bourbon and ginger. And a bourbon and ginger is my go-to if I'm not impressed with whatever's behind the bar. Bourbon and ginger. Makers and ginger, Jim and ginger typically is what I go to. But this one's sparked me because it's made with their David E., which is the line that they make, that bourbon, and ginger liqueur. So not ginger ale. So it's actually like ginger, like I said, we'll see if it comes through again, but when I had it the first time, it was like the pickled ginger.
Oh, kind of like
sushi.
Yeah. As long as it's not the wasabi.
It is not the wasabi. No, we're good. And Shauna, if you're listening, I've been controlling his pores. He's fine.
Oh, yeah. The advantage for how you run the show, John, is it's like maybe a half-ounce pour.
If that, yeah.
Yeah.
So now this is sold in... let me get back over here. This is sold in cans. I bought it in a 4-pack from Pennsylvania Innovations.
Which they have it in both, room temperature as well as they have it available cold.
They do.
For you.
I should have grabbed the cold one, but they do have a little fridge.
So if you're heading down to the game,
grab one of these. Yep.
Yeah.
Grab a 4-pack of these. Again, Hidden Still is out of Hershey, and it's a 12-ounce can, 7.5 ABV.
Yeah. So really, you're going to have, because that's got some soda to it. It's not a ginger ale. Mm-hmm. You're going to have probably 2, 3, 4 drinks in that. Mm-hmm. There is a little ginger on the nose, but there's not a lot of nose.
There is not, no.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In contrast to some of the earlier ones, like this disguises a lot of the alcohol. There's no flavor of that.
No, you get the David E. bourbon a little bit, but the ginger definitely has a prominent. But again, it's bourbon and liqueur, so it's a lot of liquor, but you're not really,
What is the ABV on this?
7.5.
Okay, so this is really nice.
Yeah. I will say, so when I had it before, they just handed me the can. And it was, I like it way better on ice. I should have asked for a glass with ice when I got this before. It was cold, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is a really good solution for, if you're at a happy hour and you don't want to have anything that's very significant. Mm-hmm. If you are out with friends, you're going to a concert, this would be perfect to stash in the cooler.
And a 4-pack of this was $22. So 4 12-ounce cans for $22.
Yeah. No, this is really good. It's very refreshing.
Definitely.
I'd wonder, I'd love to see them do something like this, but for a mint julep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is. They have a vodka one too, I think, if I remember what was on the shelf. But yeah, no, I had this at a work conference, like happy hour kind of thing after, and I liked it. I only got one because I didn't realize when I got it that it was ginger liqueur, not ginger ale. And like I said, it was cold, but I had it straight out of the can. I thoroughly enjoy this with some ice.
This would be great with nachos.
It would. You know what? We had nachos that night. So, getting back to the farm, we are going to have the Google form to be able to purchase said beef. It's going to be in today's show notes. Honestly, it's probably going to be in the show notes moving forward. Let's just say that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then there will be a button under our link in our profile and for Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that. Our little bio link thing. One of the buttons will be to be able to order with the order form for Laurel Farm. And yeah,
one of the things that we do, because we're limited in scale, that form is your order. It is not a payment method. And so we get your order, we contact you and say, we have your order. Let's arrange for either on-farm pickup or I drive into East Liberty 3 days a week. So if you're in the east end of Pittsburgh, we can take care of that or on the way. Or my daughter and I love doing road trips on the weekend to do deliveries.
Yeah.
But it also helps that, if you do an order form and we find that we're out of something, we just are able to tell you, I'm sorry, we don't have that. And then we adjust the order form.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that'll be available everywhere you find any of our links or whatnot to be able to click on and fill out the order form. Which again, as Lee just said, not payment.
Doesn't do the sale,
just giving Lee a heads up.
You.
Yep, just giving Lee a heads up. Hey, I would like to order X. And then you'll make contact with them after that. So,
and what you're doing by this is you're enabling the continuance of smaller scale agriculture. My passion is not as much like I want to grow you the best steer. My passion is seeing the next generation of agriculture come to fruition in Pennsylvania because it's got such a legacy here. I want to see a way for my daughter to be able to keep the farm and be able to lead into the next generation of agriculture if she wants to.
Yeah.
There's a ton of folks who are getting started in farming now who are facing a ton of barriers to really getting started. I mean, interest rates are tough and also access to land here in the East is pretty challenging. So I want to sustain something that is worth sustaining. And so that's what this ends up doing is getting good beef to you, but also you're making an investment in agriculture in the Commonwealth.
And you're supporting local to the extreme. Yeah. Let's
an important thing to say too, it is very much local economy. So the beef that we raise, we then send the animals to Hepler's Meat Processing in Emlenton. Hepler's is USDA inspected for your safety and for mine. And I go and pick it up, bring it back to the freezers, and then do distribution. So that's where we process our animals at.
So let's tie it all together. You were telling me a story beforehand because we were talking whiskeys that we like, and I've talked about ones I've had multiple bottles of. So make the tie for me from the Old Forester 1920 to Shorthorn cattle.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with your American distillery history, you'll see that on the back, Old Forester, the first bourbon bottled in glass, has the name George Garvin Brown on the back. Okay. And Shorthorns used to be the most dominant breed in beef cattle in the country. They're not now. That's Angus, because Angus has a really killer marketing department. No shade against the Angus. Good for them. Somebody was going to do it. They got there first. Otherwise, you would be having certified Hereford beef in your McDonald's hamburger. But George Garvin Brown, being in Kentucky, also had a vast farm, and that farm was known as Sutherland. Sutherland, what's crazy to me is I was looking up pedigrees for my animals, and I saw Sutherland, and I saw the name George Garvin Brown. And I had earlier that day picked up a bottle of Old Forester 100 and saw George Garvin Brown. I was like, there's a connection here. Brown Forman Distilleries, George Garvin Brown, grew up on Sutherland, grew up around those cattle, had one of the preeminent herdsmen and caretakers of the animals the breed of cattle that we raise has ever seen, Jack Ragsdale. So there is a connection between really stinking good bourbon, because if you've tried the 1920, it's really phenomenal.
Fantastic.
And good beef.
So it all ties together.
All ties together. And you know what? When you're there next to your kettle grill, grilling a burger with one of these pre-made cocktails in your hand, that's really a fun summer picture.
For sure.
And
got Father's Day coming up.
Got Father's Day coming up. You've got Independence Day coming up. And one of the other tie-ins between beef and bourbon and whiskey generally is you really want to make sure you're not having too much of a good thing. So just as, you know, you don't want to overindulge on the whiskey, nobody wants the meat sweats.
No. No. Which I did not get on that prime rib because I stretched it out. But yeah. So since Father's Day's coming up, and again, you're doing deliveries and everything, you and Etta.
And Shauna too. Shauna. So we've got a pickup day this coming Saturday. Okay. We're gonna set up a few more on-farm pickup days. That gets you to be able to come pick it up for free. Helps us. Yeah. Also, it gets you a chance to see the farm.
So today is which is one other thing I need to mention at some point. Today's the 4th. This is going to come out next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right.
So edit out that thing about the 8th.
Yeah. So what is the latest that someone can place an order in for Father's Day, like to have stuff ready for Father's Day?
Yeah. So within the Pittsburgh area, if you place an order, and since this is really our first foray into marketing beyond us putting a Facebook post up, if all of you just decide you want to buy beef for Father's Day, we're going to have to rethink this delivery method.
Yeah.
But what we'll probably do is if you get us orders in by Sunday night or Monday night, the Sunday before Father's Day or the Monday before Father's Day, we'll work to figure that out. It'll most likely be a Friday or Saturday delivery, but yeah, we'll figure that out.
So
actually, it would be Friday.
I wanted to put that out there just because that is coming up pretty soon. But regardless, anybody can place an order whenever for whatever.
And we'll set it up that, you can come to the farm on a Friday, that Friday before Father's Day. We'll figure that out to make sure that you can come and pick up.
So, where other than having the Google link in our everywhere, how can people stay up with when you're going to have like when you have a steer ready to sell, or when you're going to have these at farm pickup days? What's the best place for people to keep up with that information?
Yeah. So our website is laureloakfarm.com. We also have an Instagram and a Facebook. So if you like pictures of cute fuzzy calves, you can do at Laurel Oak Farm PA. Let me make sure I get that right, John.
I think that's what it is, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Now,
just want to make sure.
your website link will be everywhere as well, and on future posts, we're going to have tag Laurel as well. So
Yeah. So on Facebook and on Instagram, look up Laurel Oak Farm PA. Okay. We're not the dog kennel in Virginia.
very different.
Very different. But look us up, follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. We have 3 steers that we're starting to get initial deposits on for September, end of September delivery. So if you're interested in filling your freezer for the wintertime, we generally tell people to expect to fill a 12 cubic foot freezer with a quarter, and that it would be 50% ground beef, 30% roast, 20% steaks. The advantage you get from whether you're buying it from us or buying it from another farmer, the advantage you get in doing quarters and halves is you're getting it at a price way lower than what you would ordinarily pay per pound for steaks. The other thing you're getting is the ability to customize it.
Gotcha.
I don't know about other people. I love a really thick steak.
Same.
Yeah, like a half-inch steak is too thin. It's tough to cook it on the grill effectively. But if you get a really nice, thick 1-inch ribeye, that's just delightful. So you're allowed, a part of this is you're going to pick, what thickness do you want your steaks at? And how heavy do you want your roasts? If you have 6 kids, you're probably running a larger roast than if you are single.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah. So customizable.
exactly.
Personalized. Awesome. Okay. So, Lee, favorite ready to drink we had tonight?
Oh, favorite ready to drink we had tonight. I really like that Liberty Pole. All joshing aside, that that was really well done. Also liked the old fashioned from
8 Oaks.
8 Oaks. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. We've covered, I think, everything about the farm. I don't think we missed anything. You and I were talking beforehand. But we're immensely thrilled to have you be part of the show.
We're really happy to be your first sponsor.
Yeah, we're super pumped for that. But so be on the lookout for our website, our links, our posts. They're all going to point you towards Laurel Oak. And I'm telling you, and I'm not saying this because he's sponsoring the show or he's one of my best friends. The quality is up there. It is worth it. Even if you are putting an order in now for a September steer peak, it is worth the wait for sure.
Indeed.
And if you're not close, find a local farmer.
Yep, I'll help you find that.
Yeah. So, Lee, I appreciate you so much, man, for coming on, for sponsoring us. Super excited about this partnership. I know Zach is too, even though he couldn't be here. We talked earlier today. So, with all else, with all that, the only thing left to say is, Lee, cheers to you, man, and cheers to you.
Yes.